Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Rittman, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,300 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit, get the best possible interest rate, and I have a passion in securing your overall real estate dreams. I also have, if I can help you pay off your home faster, it even makes it easier.
And I want to remind you, if you have any questions on mortgages or anything on Indy's real estate market, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call us at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we are really fortunate to have Tracy Wright with FC Tucker.
Hello. Yes.
Hi,
Thanks
how
for
are you?
having me.
And you've been in the business for quite some time.
Yes. Yep.
And you've done phenomenally well. So we're really excited to hear your story and kind of how you've done it. But before we get to your story in real estate, what were you doing before real estate? Where'd you grow up? You know, what was
Sure.
your life before real estate?
Yes. Well, I grew up around real estate actually. And so my parents were divorced, and my mom and I moved to Indy back in the 80s when I was in kindergarten. And she was the receptionist at the Tucker office in Castleton. And so I would hide under the desk and listen to her answer the phones and meet all the agents that worked there. So I knew a lot of the things that had to go along with real estate. And not long after that, she got into the title business. So she started several title companies in Indiana. And her parents had also worked with Tucker. My grandfather worked, he was in the commercial division.
Oh, wow.
And he was an auctioneer. So lots of real estate talent that I was around. But I actually graduated from IU, and I graduated with a degree in early childhood. So I was a teacher.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the number one career that makes the move from that to real estate. It seems like a tremendous amount of real estate agents came from teaching.
Yes, and I actually have another teacher that was a teacher for 32 years on my team, Diane Munch. So I think it's maybe because, at least I worked with young kids like first and second grade, but the idea of really understanding something before you can explain it to someone else and teach it to them just kind of is innate. So I try to really explain and answer questions and make sure that I'm a good communicator with my clients. But yeah, it is. And I think the organization and, just the whole approach, I think teachers do make good realtors.
Yeah, that's what we've seen.
Yeah,
my niece is a real estate agent. She was a teacher.
Okay.
She was in, I think, first and second grade, also way out in North Carolina.
Okay.
And that's what she helped me get this podcast off the ground by being one of my guinea pigs. And that's what she said, is that it's amazing the transfer of skills and how easy it was to make the transfer for her. Now, you haven't been a teacher in a classroom for a long time, correct?
No, I have not. In fact, I retired from teaching when my daughter was born in 2002. So yeah, it's been a minute, and she's 21 now. She just turned 21 last month. So I got out of teaching, decided to stay home with her, and then one thing led to another. People had always told me to get my real estate license, and so after I had my son, maybe a year or two into it, I said, okay, let's try it. So I did, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and you've done extremely well, but you've kind of been in real estate most of your life. I mean, even as a little child,
yes,
that's what you were around it. And I think we pick up a lot from what our parents did if we are around it when they're doing it.
Absolutely. And my mom always made working look fun. Even when she was in title, her job then, things have changed quite a bit, but she would go to the different offices and greet the agents, and there's a friendship relationship there that goes along with just taking the orders and doing the whole title work. Right. So gosh, all the oldies, the names of agents that have been around forever. I mean, they probably remember me from when I was little, and I remember them and hearing my mom talk about them or to them.
So what did you do to first start get going
in real estate? Yeah. Well, my husband was working at Tucker at the time, and my mom was doing the title, and my husband Tom was doing HomeLink, which is like a ancillary division of Tucker that's home services, like an Angie's List kind of. So he had said, someone told him it takes 3 years to kind of get the clients and get repetitive business and things like that. So I really didn't have a specific goal when I went into it, but I kind of just have that personality where you dive in and, just go all the way. So I remember when I first got started, I live in Zionsville. So there were several new developments in Zionsville. This was in '07. So not the greatest time to get into real estate, but I think it was my destiny. Everything happens for a reason. And so getting into it, I actually held open a Homeorama house for a builder that year, right after I got started. And I just knew a lot of the people that were coming in and going out, people from church, people from school, just growing up in Zionsville. So he was impressed with the amount of people that I knew and said, hey, maybe we want you to list this house. So that was a huge kickstart to my business, because he had a lot of spec homes in that neighborhood at the time. And so I listed all of those, and it was just a busy time because it was a growing neighborhood. But then there were a lot of other neighborhoods that had, developers had gotten started and then they were sitting because the market was in, a downturn. So, gosh, I can remember like standing behind the dumpster in the parking lot at Tucker and calling developers and saying, hey, I saw that you have these lots. Would you be interested in letting me list any of them? I didn't really know them or a lot about it, but I thought if I'm going to get business going, if I'm going to be here, I got to make it worthwhile. So it was really just kind of organic, and I would call and talk about it. And real estate's such an easy thing to talk about. People are always asking questions and want to know how the market is, and do you know what that house sold for, or what's going on here? So it was really just kind of a natural thing. But I just kind of dove in, and one thing led to another.
I don't think I've ever had anybody say cold calling was a natural thing. But I think you might be the first person who said,
well, I did a few. And you try a little bit of everything. I remember that my manager, Landa Matthews, at the time had said, you'll find whatever your niche is. Maybe it's open houses, maybe it's phone calls, maybe it's whatever. Open houses was the ticket for me because I love people, I love to talk, and just an easy way to make friends and make an impact. So, and knowing what you're talking about,
right?
certainly.
Plus, a lot of people, which
yeah. So I grew up out in like the Lawrence area, and then we moved in '89 to Zionsville, and I went to Bif. So I had an eclectic group there too, because there's a lot of kids that come from different areas. So yeah.
So because it's so hard for many people to get going, and because I've also heard many newer agents who are afraid. Well, they don't say they're afraid, but they think it's beneath them or something to talk to people that they know about,
Mm-hmm.
how did you get over that? How should they get over that? And why is it perfectly okay to call your sphere of influence, talk to them? How do they go about doing that?
Well, I think that, the first thing is, I think being genuine and authentic, it's just something that you talk about what you do, just like you talk about, the places you go and the people And so I felt like it was really kind of flattering when people in the beginning would ask me about real estate. So I was eager to give them information. I think staying positive, even if the market isn't, the best, it's not necessarily the focus of the conversation. But really finding out what people's questions are, and then just trying to, have that conversation and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's just it's so hard for some people to do it.
It is.
But it's hard to make cold calls too for most people, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that's something that I've done since the beginning. I wouldn't do that now, but you've got to got to try on a lot of different hats before you find the one that fits.
Right.
But I think just being promising yourself, hey, I'm going to be here in 3 years, so everything I do today, mistakes or things that work, just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
If you make it 3 years, you're
there.
5% that made it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because 90%, 95% drop out in the first 3 years.
Absolutely. And people didn't text in the beginning when I was in the business. That didn't start probably until a little bit later. So talking to people, going to their houses, picking up the phone and calling them. I mean, that was the way we did business. And I still think that is the way that we should do business.
Yeah.
But you're right. Even younger generations that are now getting into the business, it's a text and not so much a verbal conversation. So sometimes you've got to encourage them, hey, pick up the phone if you don't understand, because making sure that there's clarity is a big thing. You don't want mess ups.
Yes, you don't want mess ups, and you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
Texting is easy. Email is easy. Phone calls tend to be harder for people, but phone calls tend to be more valuable.
Absolutely. Because I don't think you can express all of the things that go into the conversation or hear their feedback and questions when it's this mechanical. I mean, it's much easier just to befriend someone. Hey, how's it going? What questions do you have? What can I answer? If I don't know the answer, I'll go find out for you. But there's no replacement for the relationships that go along with real estate, for sure.
I mean, not only that is how often, even husband and wife, you misread a text message that somebody
Absolutely.
sent, and you're thinking they're mad, and they're like,
Yeah.
"No, I was just making a statement." I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh, okay."
Yeah. Well, and you want to know for sure that they got it, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, that's the other thing is people will send over an offer and they don't bother to call you and tell you, hey, check your inbox. And it's time sensitive. So yeah, I mean, pick up the phone, talk to people. You can't be afraid of it.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important. Is you send an email, you call afterwards.
Yes, follow up.
I have had so many times where I forget to do that, and when I do, they never got my email.
It happens.
So
They
I
go
really try to
somewhere.
call.
Yes.
Yes.
Text too. I mean, sometimes voicemail messages, all of a sudden my phone will like download like 16 voicemail messages. I'm like, where have these been hiding for 3 months? You know,
Why does that happen?
I don't know, but that's why, yes, it is important to
Drives me
follow up.
crazy. And I guess in addition to that, maybe on the other side, I always try to let the person know that I received what they sent.
Yes,
I think that's another,
absolutely.
we're off the subject a little bit, but that's a courtesy. But I think all of that shows people what you're like.
Yes, absolutely. You can't be afraid of what you do. I mean, you have to have confidence if you want people to trust in you and pick up the phone and call. So certainly, that's the key. And I think in the beginning, also education. There's so much to learn. Every deal's different. Going to the office for new agents is important because they can share their experiences and learn from others. So you've got to be visible. You can't be a secret agent.
Yeah, that's right.
And we don't want you to be a secret agent. So
No.
What is the best way someone can get in contact with you?
Thank you for asking. 317-281-0347 is my cell phone. And I do text. I don't answer the phone if I'm in appointments, but I call right back. Or my email is always a good way, Tracy, TRACY .Wright, WRIGHT @talktotucker.com.
And that phone number again, call or text 317-218-0347.
281.
281. And that's exactly what it says.
Well, and we were just talking about how you don't wear glasses and you were bragging.
I can read it perfectly.
We may have to get your eyes checked after this.
I just can't say it.
281-0347. You got it.
Right there. 281-0347.
Yes.
You'd think I could do that, but I didn't. And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. Well, we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage. Real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen. They find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
All right. So we've been talking about real estate. Let's take a little side tour. Let's get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
So if I take away your phone and after you get done hyperventilating because you don't have your phone, what do we catch you doing for fun?
For fun, I like to do a lot of different things. Hanging out with friends is always a good one. I have a close group of girlfriends and past clients too, become friends. And so doing things with my friends. Last weekend, one of my girlfriends and I made candles together. And then I like to paint furniture. I like to take care of my plants, like music, like being outdoors, nature, hiking, tubing down the Turkey Run River is always a good one. So yeah, I just like being out with my friends and family.
Sounds like you're busy.
It's funny. Like sometimes I feel like there's never enough time in the day, but then I think, what is it I'm really doing? I think I'm just always on the go because it comes natural to me. I just like to be busy and stay involved in things.
We only have one life.
Well, that's right. So we got to hurry up and live it.
That's right.
Because we never know.
You know, I was talking to it's actually a brand new agent, and he's my personal trainer, and he just became a real estate agent.
Mhm.
We're talking. I said, well, 10 years is going to go by no matter what. Because I was telling him to buy a property and live in it, buy a rental property, buy a double and live in it. That's what he should do, you know? And I said, because 10 years is going to go by. So if you don't, you either buy it or you don't buy it.
Yeah.
The 10 years is still going to go.
Where
So
do you want to be in 10 years?
Yes. Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like you want to go and have the experiences, because really money's nice in life, but experiences are really important. That's why we're here, I think.
And you get some pretty interesting ones with real estate.
That's right. And Ian's going to ask about that later.
Okay.
So what would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
Well, I think one is problem solving. I'm not afraid of a challenge. And I think that's important because this business isn't necessarily about me. It's about each transaction and the people involved. And so when problems come up, it's not, oh, I just want to, push this away, not deal with it because I don't want them to think I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, you have to be always learning and open to ask questions. So I would say being not being afraid and problem solving, but also being very resourceful. So we deal a lot in luxury real estate and new construction, and coming in and helping people, whether it's from a design aspect, get their home to look its best and its biggest and brightest when people come to look, or for overcoming the to-do list that hasn't been done for 10 years, and we get some people in there to help you do it in an affordable, cost-effective way. So really, I think just the resources that I have and I'm lucky enough to have from being in the business for so long, and just the different aspects of how I run my business. And I think networking, it's a big part of real estate is, calling up the people that, are doing a lot of the business. Hey, what do you have coming up on the market? Or, what about this house? And I think you just got to live it. You got to be in it and talking to people all the time.
Yeah. It's every successful agent I've talked to, that's what they're talking to people all of the time. I spent 11 years with the Estridge companies in new home sales. And there was one in particular agent I remember that he impressed me every time we gave him a spec, it sold, and it sold quickly. So one time I said, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing this different than everybody else? It seems like you get and he goes, well, I get it out there to everybody. So I don't just put it on the MLS. He goes, I know a lot of people, and I call everybody and I get them the information. I make sure everybody knows. But just like you've been in the business a long time. So you have these connections. The BLC is great, but it's not like your connections.
No, I think it's talking. And I think, when you go into a transaction, I mean, granted, mine tend to be more luxury type properties, so they don't sell overnight, but it's a relationship that you don't always know what the outcome is going to be. So I'm not starting off thinking I've got to hurry up and get them to sign on something, or, to me, it's a project based transaction to where we just take it from wherever they are and concierge all the way to the end. So, typically if somebody's moving, they're either losing a job, getting a divorce, changing jobs. There could be all different kinds of reasons. And so that's really what's on their mind at the time. So my job is to come in and help facilitate the move in every aspect so that I can take the pressure off of some of those things. So whether it's, hey, I know a place to get discount boxes if you haven't thought about that yet, or you need a mover to come over and give you an estimate, just all those kinds of things. We try and be very hands-on and concierge from the beginning. And I think people really appreciate that and they can count on that. And that's sort of what I hear is the lasting, memory of working with us. Like, wow, they really were able to help and get in there and handle so many different things we didn't even know they would address.
Right.
So is there a big difference between selling the luxury homes and stuff versus, let's say, the $100,000, $150,000 homes? Is there a big difference?
I don't think so. I think that at least the way I approach it is, regardless of the price, we're going to take professional photography every time. We're going to come in and listen and find out what you need and how we can help you. And we're going to go about it the same. I think that's what we pride ourselves on is, our service. I actually, one time I sold a $70,000 barn in Fayette, Indiana. And ironically, and it was a beautiful barn. I did take pictures. But then ironically, I made friends with the gal who bought it, and she owns a furniture store in Zionsville, 530 resale. And we became friends from that. And now I use her to get all of my, she repaints furniture. So I get like dressers or different furniture pieces from her. And that's kind of our signature thing that we put in our spec homes when we build custom, is we always kind of try and incorporate a cool piece of furniture for her and make it the sink or the vanity. And so, yeah, so I think that, no matter what you're doing, you have to have a blueprint, and you can't, there are certain aspects of it that you'll change up because, if you have a home that's not maybe up at the high end, you're going to see more showing. So there's going to be more activity, things like that. But the process and the what we offer is the same. So we want to work with anybody that needs to buy or sell.
Yeah. So obviously right now there's a lack of inventory, but you're a builder also. So how does that play into it? And that seems like that would be a big advantage anytime, but especially in this market.
It is. I do find that. I mean, living in Zionsville, and we sell all over, but the average price point or the median price in Zionsville is a little bit higher, so that helps. But working with a builder has been just a very big advantage and eye opener, because I have learned so much about construction, and I've learned, enough that when inspections come in, I have a go-to person and he can explain to me. And so things that might seem monumental maybe don't seem like they're impossible. So I think I've learned a lot in terms of building and design. And then I would say, having the clients that come through, not all of them end up building, because especially right now, when you think, buying a lot at 7% and then building $1 million home at 7% plus prices to build are high. We get a lot of people that, might have to table it. So whether they move on and buy something else or sell their lot, usually I'm involved in the whole design process from the beginning. So then I can help them if they need to, go a different direction. So it has been an advantage for sure.
That has to be an advantage too, that you help design houses, which means when somebody's walking through a house, having walked many, many, many people through homes, most people can't see what it can be. I'm one, I can see exactly what it is. I can't see what it can be.
You're not alone.
It's very hard. So it has to be great to have somebody like you who has that ability and does it basically professionally along with your real estate.
Yeah. So a few years ago, we just sort of made it official. So it's called the Wright Look. Wright with a W.
Okay.
I married Mr. Wright because I could use his name. Use his name in my business in a lot of different ways. No, I'm happily married to Tom for 24 years now. We just had our anniversary on Monday. And
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So I forgot what was the question?
On being design and then
Oh yeah. So I would say it's awesome because when we go in on a design project, whether it's like, I kind of look at everything, like the possibilities. So if somebody's selling their home, I come in and I can talk about furniture placement, changing out lights, paint, all those kinds of things. But then additionally, when we're working on actually creating the design, because the builder I work with, V-Way Crafted Homes, Joe V-Way is the owner, he allowed me to sit in with the clients on the design side and then go with them and assist in helping pick out their selections. And so as time went on, it sort of became innate, and one thing led to another. And he finally said, hey, you're the designer. Why don't you just do all the spec homes? And in 2019, we did Homerama.
Wow.
And he said, you're it. Just go for it. And it was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. We got lots of good feedback. And I think it's because when I'm looking at a home and we're talking projects, like from a design aspect, it's not just let's go to the furniture market and buy furniture. Like I had a client once who was just like, she had a condo that was smaller, and she said, I just don't have any like space for entertaining. So we actually took her coat closet and took the door off and turned it into a bar and put a beverage fridge in there and some cool tile and a pendant light. And it just looked like $1 million. And she's like, I love that you came in and the ideas that you've presented have also added value to my home, not just things that are, I'm going to take with me, but that's an improvement. So I think it's really fun. And when I go through homes, I'm always thinking, what can we do next? So I've learned a lot, and I've had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, a great decorator can make all the difference in the world.
Yes,
I
yes,
know that.
yes.
And I know when I was at Estridge, at the time, we couldn't find a decorator in Indianapolis.
Really?
So Paul flew out, and he happened to be, he wasn't actually meeting with this person, but she was in Arizona. He's going somewhere else, and he was at something, and he met this decorator, and she was our decorator for as long as I was, she was there forever. And she told me one time, she said, what I do is I look at a house and I have a family in mind, or the home buyer, and that's how she decorated.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how somebody who knows what they're doing, like you or her, they know what they're doing, they can do that. It's everything would look just like I want it to look. It would never look like someone else wanted it.
Well, I think functionality and how the family lives is a big part of it. So whether I'm in design or spec home or just resale, your home, I think, is supposed to be the place that complements you. And so thinking in terms of, okay, like for example, my hair's naturally curly, so sometimes I straighten it. And then I have an electric toothbrush. And then I have a little deal I plug in to wash my face with. So for me, I'm always like, maybe we need quad plugs by the bathroom sinks. That's something that people don't think of, but then you're not dealing with a million, or, there's just a ton of little things that I've learned along the way that allow people, especially when they're building, to kind of feel like, that's the idea. It's custom. It's supposed to custom fit you and your lifestyle. So we try and incorporate things that bring out their memories, their personality, the way they live, but also provide support in how they live. And I think that's a huge piece of design.
Yeah. I don't know if you can have too many electrical outlets.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can.
And the ones that are the USB, because I can never find the QB that I need. So the ones that are like direct USB, I love those too. So we have those all over the house.
Yeah.
I've been installing those in my house too.
Have you?
Yes.
They make life
at
easy.
least every room right now has one at least. So.
Yes. That's one of those things. Once you know about it, you can't live without it.
But if somebody's looking to buy, sell, or even just talk real estate, how do they get in touch with you?
They can call me on my cell phone at 317-281-0347, or they can email me at Tracy, TRACY.Wright, WRIGHT, @talktotucker.com.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right. And now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates on the loan process. We don't like living in a black hole, so we do not allow it with you. All right. So here's the question for you.
Okay.
What was your first car?
Ooh, my first car was awesome. It was a Mazda 626 5-speed with red velvet interior, champagne color on the outside. And my brother hooked me up with, at the time, this was in, like probably 92, 90, no, maybe 91, 90, the flip radios, that you could put on the dashboard.
Yes.
And then he rigged up some bass in the back. So, it was pretty bad. I looked cool. I loved it.
So that's a great first car.
It is. I had to learn a stick. My parents said I have to learn that. So,
which is great, because today they say people will, like these carjackers will try to jack somebody's car.
Yeah, and then they can't get away.
It's hilarious.
I can get away. I won't steal your car, but if somebody does, I can get away.
Yeah. I'd be a little rusty. I haven't driven a stick in a long time.
Yeah.
But it kind of comes back.
Oh, it does. It's like the bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what does your team look like?
So my team, it's interesting. I really do live the business. My team is my mom, Becky Newman, my husband, Tom Wright, family friend Diane Munch, and Rebecca Langen, who is a past client.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah.
Are they all real estate agents or?
Yes, yes. We are all agents, and we all handle our own business, but we also support one another. So it's nice. Becky and Diane have places in Florida. So when they go to Florida in the winter, if we need to help them out, we can, and vice versa. So, but our team is really just made up of folks that are full of experience and drive and ambition. And I think, I learned it from my mom, and my husband's like that. Diane's like that. Rebecca's like that. So, I think we're just all very conscientious and supportive of one another and our clients and our business.
And how important do you think that is, the mentorship that, because you can have they can be mentors for you. I'm sure you're mentors for them, but you're at Tucker where you have some phenomenal agents to work with. How important is it to be on a good, solid team and to have mentors when not only when you first get in the business, but through your entire career?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got into the business, teams weren't really a thing. Like, it wasn't so much embraced by the agencies because obviously, if you're not working direct for them, it's not quite as much of a financial benefit. But then I did take a step away from Tucker for 14 years, and that's when the team started to kind of form. And it's very important, I think, because you can't do the business successfully in isolation. So having people to bounce ideas off of or go to for help is always key. And yeah, I think having a team just keeps us motivated.
So your family get-togethers, is everybody on their phone then?
Well, that does happen. Yes. We had my parents over for dinner last week and my mom was in the middle of an offer. So the whole time we're like hanging out, she had her computer on her lap, but it doesn't faze us anymore. You do what you got to do when you got to do it.
Well, you certainly understand why they're doing it. So.
Yes. So yeah, no questions.
Yeah.
It's nice that a husband and wife, you actually both do the same thing, because my wife's an accountant and we'll be at family get-togethers and I'll get a phone call. And my wife's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "You understand, I've been doing this my whole life."
Absolutely.
But it's just like, it's nice that you guys understand where you're coming from.
Well, and Tom and I are like 99% opposite. So it actually is really great. We do have separate offices. He's across the hall from me because I think we would drive each other crazy, but he is very capable of sitting at the desk, working through contracts, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. And I am really kind of hard to sit still. I'm out there talking to people. I like the diversity in my day. And so we balance each other really well.
Yeah, that's important.
It is.
Yeah.
In life and in business.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. In a marriage too. You got,
yes.
I think it's good to have that little offsetting for most of us, but everybody's different. It just depends.
Well, and when I was, there were times, I mean, this is a different market. Things change every year. But there were times when we were so busy and we may have had, 20 listings over here and buyers over here. And so Tom understood that. So he actually is the cook and he does the laundry and I love it, but it didn't start that way. But you get busy and the hours are definitely, not consistent. So yeah, he's learned to step up and do some things like that when I'm out, and he's out, I do the same. So it works.
Now, do you and Tom work with the same clients?
It's funny. We do and we don't. We all have our own clients, but then Tom is sort of an extension of me because if I'm really busy, he can kind of pick up some of the paperwork while I'm out doing stuff. So yeah, he's the only one I would say, like, he kind of doubles as an admin person for us right now.
Yeah. Well, he's has a strength and
he does. Yes. And he's a very good salesman. He's just really nice guy. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. This is the real reason, because she can go to him and go, "I'm not asking, you're not splitting this commission with me."
Yeah. Or
kind of get split automatically.
I was going to say, we have the same bank account, but yeah.
I don't think that matters at all.
You haven't been married very long, have you?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
38 years.
Well, that's
a little bit of time.
That's a little bit of time.
All right.
I still have to hide things once in a while. I mean, shopping, I just kind of wait till he's either in the shower or somewhere else and I sneak my bags in and I answer questions later. Yeah.
Forever. You start paying attention.
I've had that forever.
You're not very observant, are you?
Uh-huh.
All right. So since you've been in the business for a long time, I like to usually ask this question. So how have you seen real estate, somebody buying real estate or something, benefit them either mentally or financially over the years?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, appreciation, especially, recently we've had some crazy homes that have just doubled in their value, and that's not the norm. But certainly I think that real estate's a fun thing. It's a great financial investment. And there's lots of different ways that it can be financially beneficial to people, whether it's, rentals or just selling homes quickly after you've purchased them. We have somebody that actually I've got listed right now that purchased for in the 600s and we're at $1.2 million. And it's land. It's land, but it's a great piece of land, and the comps, support it. It's just increased in value over the last few years.
Yeah, the increase in value recently has been
Hmm.
incredible in our areas.
Incredible. Yes. And I hope that, we don't have a fallout from that eventually, but yeah,
Yeah. I don't believe we will. And the
good.
reason I don't is because if you look at the statistics, and first of all, we had a huge baby boom 35 years ago, and the average first-time home buyer is 35 years old now. We had 10 million families formed in like from 2008 to 2018, and we built 2 million too few homes. So we have a lack of inventory. We have more people wanting to buy. The media wants to sit there and push that there's all these problems, but the reality is we don't have enough homes for the amount of people who want to buy homes.
Absolutely.
And there's no reason to think it's going to change, because when you look at those numbers, you realize we're way underserved, and builders can't build them fast enough because of all the issues that the builders have had to deal with.
I mean, they can't get guys to show up. The prices have gone up. Now they're putting clauses into their contracts, escalation clauses. So, when lumber was crazy, it was, if you have a fixed cost contract, you've got to put something in there, or the builder may eat $100,000,
Right.
So definitely people had to get creative over the last few years. And yeah, so to your point, but I think that, people are always moving, so
Yes.
it's never a bad time. Sometimes might be a little bit better than others, but it's, it's part of life.
I think today is a great time.
Yeah.
And I think it is because of all those situations and the fact that it is starting. We're already starting to see. I had a call today from an agent who I work with a lot, and she said, "Listen, she needs to make her offer today, so I had to get them what they needed right away, because they have all these offers, and there were like 8 offers on this house, and they were at least 10,000 over list."
Yeah. Tom sold one on Monday, and he said, we offered over list. It's a cash deal. He said, but I know there's other offers. And we were sitting there talking, and I said, well, and they had the inspection online because it had previously, the deal had fallen through. And I said, did you waive the inspection? He's like, well, she would do it. I said, well, maybe call and we can send over an addendum if you're worried that we won't get it. And he did call, and we did send the addendum, and that's the only way we did get it. So it still takes being creative and thoughtful to win these deals, because like you said, the inventory is low and there's lots of people out there that want to move.
And it's good houses.
Good houses.
Some houses are still sitting a little bit.
Yes. I think if you price them right and you prepare, and your agent helps you prepare your home to sell, there shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. What's the negative of overpricing your home?
Well, it sits for a while, and I know that, everybody has a story of why someone's moving, and if they don't, they always ask, why are these people moving? Well, I don't know, because I'm just here to show you their house. But I'm sure there's a story. I don't know it and couldn't tell it if I did know. But I think that that's the thing, is that if you go into the home and you address the things right out of the gates that need to be done, there's no reason that it shouldn't sell, and if it's too high, your appraisal might come in low, because the appraiser can say, well, it's been sitting, so it probably wasn't priced right. Doing price drops makes people uncomfortable. I don't think it's a problem. I think it just shows that you're willing to move with the market if you've been sitting and you need to do that adjustment. But yeah, overpricing can really leave you dead in the water. So you've got to be smart about it.
Yeah. See, one thing that I think that you mentioned earlier, and we didn't really hit on it, but I will now, is you like to take the pictures. You like to take good pictures. And the reason why that really sticks with me right now, I have a somewhat catty-cornered neighbor that they ended up selling their home, and they were just going to list it on their own. And they talked to my wife, they didn't talk to me. I mean, we don't really talk to these people. But they were just like, yeah, we're going to list it on our own. But then we saw a realtor sign like 6 months later. Finally, they put a realtor sign, but took like 8 pictures, no bathrooms, no bedrooms, just did and I'm like, are you kidding me? And then within a week, they drop it 10 grand. I'm like, yeah, this is the reason why you hire a good agent that knows what they're doing.
Well, I mean, there's a reason for us, and it's your biggest investment most likely. And so why try and wing it? I mean, hire a professional that's going to come in, and realtors spend a lot of money up front. I mean, we we get paid at the closing table, but when we come in and take professional pictures and make flyers and all the different things that we do, that's our upfront investment in the transaction. So, just trying to figure it out yourself, I think is a disservice.
Yep. And you cost yourself money.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they would have probably taken, and I was talking to my wife about, they would have taken better pictures, staged the house better. I go, they probably wouldn't even discount it. They would have had showings and everything. But
well, and there's something to be said about, I mean, if there's a parking lot that has a lot of cars for sale, that's where someone's going to go to buy a car.
Yep.
They're not going to know to pull off the side road to somebody's backyard and buy the car. So, there is a system. We pay to be a part of it.
Yep.
So that's where you want your house if you're listing.
All right. So Rick somewhat mentioned this earlier, but my favorite question is, what do you think your most memorable deal was?
Okay, so
or deals. You can go on.
I mean,
stories.
Yeah, we could be here all day. There's quite a few, some good memories, some not so good. No, I one time an interesting deal. And I guess it goes to show that you never know, and it is good to be out and networking and talking real estate. But I had a home that was an older home. It was a lot older, and it hadn't sold. And so we decided to auction it. And so I partnered with an auction company, and we put it up for auction, and we didn't sell it at the auction. However, earlier in the week, I had been to a storage unit because we had moved, and I had some things I wanted to put into the storage unit, and I got talking to the owner of the storage unit, really nice guy, Sam, and I told him, he was just asking about business. He had every hobbies in real estate. And I said, you ought to come. We're having this auction. I've never done one before, but it's a really cool home, and blah, blah, blah. So I gave him the flyer. He showed up at the auction. He waited till the auction was over, and he called me and said, I'd like to buy the house. So he did. And he and his two brothers completely fixed up the home and then flipped it. And, it just goes to show. I mean, he was the guy working at the front desk of the storage unit, and he was my winner. So, you just never know. And networking, again, that's what it's all about, talking to people.
So not being a secret agent.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what would you say some of the misconceptions are about what a real estate agent does? And usually we ask this question to kind of help newer agents, but I think it also works for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure people have a misconception about what you actually do, because you do so much behind the scenes they never see.
That's true. So you're saying, like, what is it that agents do that people might not know about?
Yeah, the misconceptions.
Yeah.
So many people. I had an agent tell me he had came in to do the show, and he said, he was at a getting coffee, and he heard two people in front of him talking about all agents are glorified door openers, right? And to me, and and he had a good attitude about it. He goes, yeah, that means they see us like they see a Olympic ice skater. You look at an Olympic ice skater and say, man, that looks easy. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can't even stand up on skates. Well, it's the same way with real estate, I think.
Yes, you have to have the tools. I think some of the misconceptions, I would say, the TV shows that have been so popular don't always help us. Especially the one that drives us nuts is like, they come in and they do the makeover and they tell the price, and you're like, there is no way that they got all those things in that house for that price. So it sets an unrealistic expectation in people's minds as far as how much does it cost to remodel, how much does it cost to build, that kind of thing. But really, when buyers go to see a home, I mean, they've already seen it online. So yeah, I might open the door for them, but they know what a bedroom is versus a kitchen. The real work is, what are you going to do? Number one, if you're working for the buyer, what are you going to do to secure the offer? Because you are competing with other people. You want to make sure that they're not going to come back to you, next week or next year and say, hey, I had, mold in my attic or, basement or whatever. So I think, being unafraid to ask tough questions to ensure that buyers being aware and, get what they are paying for. Because hopefully I'm going to come back and sell the house at some point. And I think another misconception, a lot of times people want to focus on commission, which, everybody's going to be paid for their time and what they do, no matter what profession it is. But the check so to speak, that comes at the end of a deal is not going in my pocket 100%. There's other people along the way that I have to share that with. So, I think that providing and teaching your clients what your value is and sticking to it is important, because you don't have to negotiate to be successful or to get clients. You can stand by industry standards on your commission, and you can do more than open doors for sure. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
And if somebody discounts the commission, I think people have to understand, if they discount the commission, they're discounting what they're going to do for you also. Okay, they can't do the same things.
So funny story, that house that I had auction, I was driving there one time, and it was, kind of past 38th in Michigan, and I needed to get a key made. And so there was a key place to make keys on the side of the road there. And I pulled in, and they had a sign on the door that said, "What would you like me to discount? The quality or the service?"
Yes.
And I always remember that, because I'm thinking, for sure, I'm going to work hard and do the best I can do, because it's my name on the business. But, if you start to whittle down before you get started, you just take away the impact of what a good agent can do for you.
Right. Well, you spend money.
You do.
Right.
It's
So
not, yeah.
they discount your service. You may not spend you probably decide, I'm not going to work with them, but there's other agents that may take it and they go, okay, then I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. And ultimately that hurts the buyer or seller.
Yeah, because they're probably not going to tell you what they're not going to do,
Right.
but it's the stuff they should be doing, because it's what you need. So,
Right.
if you go into it like, look, this isn't about me or what I make. This is about you and how to get you what you want.
A great agent, I don't believe actually costs any money, because I think you get more money for your house because of their efforts, and they save you money in the long run. So it all works out. I just think that it's
well, and
great
realtors
agents.
have overhead too.
Yes.
That's the funny thing, is we spend a lot of money on marketing and promotions to support your advertising your home for sale, our services. So there's a lot that goes into it.
All right. And if you would like to work with this great agent, Tracy, how would they get in contact with you?
They can call me on my phone, 317-281-0347, or they can email me at tracy.wright@talktotucker.com.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
And reminder, if you're looking, if you know any friends, family, coworkers looking to buy, sell, or refinance, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you. Man, I say that so often. I don't know how I messed that up.
Well, I do it all the time.
All right. Tracy, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Absolutely. You guys do a great job and have a great service. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Rittman's NMLS number 6645890. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.